I'm Eugene Robinson, and I'm chopping it up with Buck. What up, Buck?
I love it. Oh, man, it's so good to have Eugene Robinson. We call him Gino. I almost call him Eugene Daniels, who I played with. But, man, Gino, it is good to have you. We finally got you on the show. This is the first of many because you and I have been talking ball. I was reaching out to you a few weeks ago for one of your players, Garrett Schrader, because I was calling that game. And, yeah, I mean, we started talking ball.
Yes.
Great to
Dude, I just got finished talking about Garrett Schrader, how much he's improved. He's improved as a passer. I watched that game the other day at Syracuse was playing. I forget who they was playing. Yeah. And he threw the ball on. There was a touchdown he threw that got called back because of the holding call. That was one of the best passes I've seen him throw all year long. I'm like, dude, this dude has really progressed because he's always been a runner. And I told him before he left Charlotte Christian, when you turn into a complete passer, you will be dangerous and you will find yourself in the pros.
Well, he's finally in a place, and for those that don't know, Garrett Schrader played at Charlotte Christian.
Yep.
For years. And Eugene and I have always talked ball, but this in particular was a game that, you know, I've seen Garrett over the years, and he had to get to a place where he had a consistent offensive coach and staff.
Yes.
And now he has that. He's always been a good athlete. You were talking about how talented he was athletically as well.
Yeah, because when he also ran track for me. I was the head track coach at Charlotte Christian, so Garrett has run track for me. And when he first started, he was around like 11.5, 11.4.7. He ended up getting to 11 flat to 10.9. I'm telling you, and then I put him on my 4x1 team. I had him as the second leg, because if I give him a head start, he's going to turn that 11 flat 10.9, and that's going to be somewhere right around 10.6 because he has a running start. The dude can flat out run, dude. He's always been able to run, and he has this attitude that he thinks nobody can beat him. Yeah. Nobody can beat this kid. And so he already had the right mentality. I coached his sister, Morgan. She ran hurdles for me. So I'm familiar with that family, but I also coached him in football. And I remember asking him quickly, but I said, hey, dude, what do you look at when you look at the safety? He said, I can't give away my secrets. I said, well, I'm just asking the question because
did you tell him you covered 57 NFL interceptions.
Yeah, I said, dude, I'm just asking the questions because you're not going to tell me anything that I don't know about John Elway, or I don't know about Steve Young, I don't know about Joe Montana. I started listening to quarterbacks. He said, oh, yeah, that's right. I said, yeah, the reason why I'm telling you that is because I want you to hear from a defensive back perspective what we look at, what we're taught, so that you can go ahead and beat me with your shoulders and not with your eyes. Because somebody who's well-skilled, you're not going to look me off with your eyes. But if you move your shoulders, I have to respect the tone and tilt, direction, and how far the ball is going down the field.
Man, well, let's take it all the way back. And those are the kind of things and insights I think people take for granted. When you watch the game, you have to watch it in a different perspective. But you grew up in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yes.
You know, you played high school at Hartford, Connecticut, Weaver. So tell us a little bit about that and your experience of growing up playing football, running track. I know you were a multi-sport athlete just from our conversations, but tell us a little bit about your high school experience.
So my high school experience was I didn't get to play till I was a junior. I was always the smallest kid on the block. My freshman year, I weighed 90 pounds. My sophomore year, I weighed 112. I was also a wrestler. And so my brother was more the athlete that everybody knew. We're only 13 months apart. But just to give you an idea, he's 6 feet, 175, 180. I'm 5'4", 90 pounds.
Okay.
I'm this small guy. And so I was always chasing behind him. But I grew up in the hood where we always played against older kids. And so I was really talented, but you just didn't know it because I was just so small. And I didn't get a chance to play really to my junior year when I became the free safety. A coach took a chance on me because of my academics and how strong my academics was. He's like, his name was Brian White. He played for the Buffalo Bills. He said, played for the Buffalo. He said, this kid knows what he's doing. I'm going to make him a free safety. When he believed in me, it changed the course of my life. Totally changed. And then I ended up playing my senior year. I walked on when I went to Colgate University. I was still a small kid. I was about maybe 5'10", 150. And they let me come out for football, and I was one of the only kids to make the varsity out of the recruiting class to make the varsity team. And then from there, I just started balling out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people understand because they always say you have to be the guy that was a guy in Pop Warner. But I love hearing those stories, and I know your story. We've talked quite a bit about it. But what was the difference when he told you you're going to be something? You can play free safety. What did that do for you, and what did it do? Just like how did it make you feel as a young player?
Well, my confidence went through the roof because somebody believed in me other than myself, and somebody who actually had position and power to do something about it.
Mhm.
So not only did he believe in me, but he made me the free safety, Brian White. And because he said I knew what I was doing, he said he'd rather have a guy who knows what he's doing than an athlete who's running around the field who has no idea what he's doing. And because I was a pretty good athlete too, but that um, that really changed the course. I ended up having that year, maybe like 5 to 6 interceptions that year, my junior year, and I wasn't the guy who was the best in the secondary. I just happened to be a guy, and I wasn't the best. But the fact that I knew where the ball was going, I knew the academics of football. I could tell you where the trap is coming. I could tell you what the routes were. I can tell you what's going to happen on the
You can
field.
see the game. You can see
Yeah, it put me in a great position to be to make plays, and I've never forgotten that. And his belief in me catapulted me because it felt like, okay, I belong. And I never went to when I went to Colgate, I never felt like I didn't belong or that
Yeah.
that this guy was better than me. I never felt that way. I was like, well, we'll see. And we went on the film like, man, I played against guys I played pickup games better than the guys I played with in college. I played pickup games going,
Oh,
really? It's okay. And so from that standpoint, I, I felt that there was nothing that I couldn't do athletically and because I knew the academics of football. And I knew that, hey, if you beat me, okay, beat me again. And I was a wrestler, and wrestling really helped my craft because I wrestled 4 years in high school as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
mm-hmm.
And wrestling taught me how to tackle extremely well.
Yeah.
Extremely well. Oh man, I was mean too. Wrestling gives you a meanness that football doesn't because you're in hand-to-hand combat. Yeah. I was always in hand-to-hand combat. I was like, man, I would really get after it. And so wrestling really, the reason why I got over 1,400 something tackles in the National Football League because I'm a wrestler. Yeah. And I'm not afraid of you when you're running. I ain't scared. I'm like, what? I'm gonna bust you in the face, right? Because I'm a wrestler. I know how to get in position to make a tackle.
You know how to give somebody like a bigger back. You're gonna make them think you're going high and then come low. I know how you guys do those DBs. I've faced all my life. When did you know you were getting a chance to get to the league? What was it? When at Colgate? What was it? Was it the?
It was at Colgate. I was playing a pickup game with my friends, Miguel, Frank, and Jeff. We had a 2-on-2. We're playing in the quad. All of whom those guys I just mentioned were really good football players, very good football players. And I was about maybe 175 pounds at this time. I'm right almost 6 feet. And we were playing a pickup game. And I made those dudes who were my peers at that time, I couldn't believe how much better I was at football than they were when they were good. And I was like, man, I can't be that much better than they are, can I? Guys were fast. One guy was real fast, but I was still able to match his speed. Or when I got ahead of him, he couldn't catch me. Mm. It's like, and I kept saying to myself, man, I can't be that much better than him. And then when I got drafted in the USFL, the territorial draft, and I went down to the New Jersey Generals, I went down there for a camp for like 3 days. After being in that camp, I said, I know I can play in the National Football League.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. When you get to Seattle, your first stop, and you and I both know Nesby Glasgow, rest of soul. Nesby was one of those guys that you started out with in Seattle. Tell us a little bit about the experience in Seattle. Then you played at Green Bay, Atlanta, with the Panthers. But, through the course of your career, what was it like in Seattle at that time coming in as a young player? With Ken Easley also.
Yeah, well, Ken Easley, but the guy who really influenced me the most was Dave Brown. Dave Brown had 62 interceptions in the National Football League. Okay. Ken Easley had maybe like 38 interceptions. Ken Easley was one of the biggest hitters I know. Ooh. And John Harris, who played the free safety, he was one of the smartest men that I've ever been around, knowing the academics of football. And Dave took me under his wing, taught me how to watch film. Okay. At his house on Wednesday and Thursday, breaking down film. VHS, by the way, by the way, 6 hours of film on a VHS watching film.
When you had to go and touch it. You had to go touch it.
Oh, yeah. And collating and writing everything out. Writing 3rd down and 7+, writing down 3rd and 4 to 6, writing down 3rd and 3 minus, writing down 2nd and 7+, writing down. I did all that stuff, and I would tell you, and at the end of the session, Dave Brown would ask me, okay, Rook, tell me where they run the ball at. Tell me who's getting the ball. I had to be able to tell him, got the trap here, they got this. It became such a catalog for me that even though I was on the team, the academics that I learned from Dave Brown at his house on Wednesdays and Thursdays catapulted me way ahead of the game. I was already smart, but now I knew when the trap was coming. I was calling out plays on the sideline. I asked Ken Easley, what do I need to do to get to the Pro Bowl? What do I need to do to make a spark? He said, big hits and interceptions. That turned the game around.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to get both, big hits and interceptions. Dave Brown, what do I got to do? He said, you got to know the academics of football. You got to know where the ball is coming at and put yourself in position so you can affect change. Well, guess what? That's what I'm going to do. And then I was fearless. I wasn't afraid at all. I never was afraid sitting there going, oh, man, that's Jerry Rice. That's Christian Okoye. I don't care who it is. I don't know. I'm a good dude from the hood. I ain't supposed to be here. So let me just see what I'm going to do.
Well, 3-time Pro Bowler, won the Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers, and talk about some of those experiences, because I was in camp for a short time with you guys in Green Bay, and I could see what you had. Reggie White, one of the best players that I've seen ever. Human to human, you just look at it like it's not fair. When you can pull Larry Allen, people always ask me, I love Bruce Smith, he's a great player, Lawrence Taylor, but Reggie White was just a different dude. You can explain it because you played with him a lot longer than I did.
Yeah, well, Reggie White, Buck, was my roommate too, and Reggie White was the first person to recruit me to come to Green Bay. He called me up during one season in 1995. He said, yo, dude, you need to come to Green Bay. We need you. You need to come to Green Bay. You want to come to Green Bay? I said, dude, it don't work that way, man. Next thing I know, I was getting traded to Green Bay. I kid you not, within like maybe 2 weeks after he told me about coming to Green Bay, I get traded to the Green Bay Packers. So I get traded to Green Bay. They don't know anything about me, right? But they don't know that, they know this guy gets interceptions, but to them, I'm 31 years old. They're like, oh, he's old. He's what is this guy coming? What is he going to do? The very first thing I did was I grabbed the secondary and said, look, I know you guys had, you only had like 11 interceptions that year. I said, dude, we're going to catch the ball after practice.
Yep.
I think it was Doug Evans said, man, I had 29 knockdowns. I said, you know what that means, Doug? He said, what? I said, it means you can't catch. I said, what we're going to do is we're going to catch the ball after practice. Good. And so then I started making them catch the ball after practice, right? And then I said, look, I told them, I grabbed the secondary. I said, look, if you don't make the tackle, I bet you I will. And if you don't get the interception, I'm going to be close enough to the ball that I probably will get an interception. That year, I had maybe 6 picks in the regular season. I had like 9 interceptions that year. Going into the playoffs, 1, because I know the academics, and 2, they trusted me. And I told them dudes, I said, dude, me and Reggie White are the 2 oldest guys on the team, and we kind of like mother hen nurtured team. But it was such a team where everybody kind of knew their role. Yeah. And then we gave them their own autonomy to excel. And then Fritz Shermer, he said, what do you guys want to run? What do you want to do? He would always ask us, what do you want? We said, look, we want to do this, Fritz, right here. And he would let us get after it, dude. He had complete trust in us. And that a lot of that was with Reggie. And I got a compliment for Reggie White. They asked Reggie White, what was one of the biggest things you guys won a Super Bowl? He said to them, and I quote, he said, when we picked up Eugene Robinson on trade, he said, he solidified our secondary, got people lined up, got them in the right position, and then he controlled that in the back. I helped allow Leroy Butler to go ahead and be Leroy Butler. Leroy, you're one of the best rushers on the planet. Man, go rush. I'll cover, dude. You go ahead and do your thing.
So you get your 7.5 career sacks. You say, Leroy, you go get more. He could also attack the ball as well. He could catch in the back.
Yes, he could.
But both of you guys didn't mind hitting.
No, not at all. And you're right, and not at all. That was one of our things too, because I remember in practice in Green Bay, we had a hitting session one day. They don't know anything about me. Our running fullback is Will Boogie. I forget Will Henderson.
Okay. Yeah.
Will Henderson is our fullback. He's about 6'2". He's a good 240.
Yeah. Just
and can block.
Yeah.
Well, we had a hitting session that day. He catches the ball in the flat. I see it. They don't know anything about me. We're on near the goal line. I ran through your boy.
Yeah.
I ran through him. And then one of the coaches said, "Oh my goodness, we got ourselves a hitter." I said, "I just want to let y'all know." I said, "Y'all know nothing about me. I just want to let y'all know what time it is and what I can do." And so I hit Will Henderson and I tagged him, man. I mean, when I hit him, dude, I hit him hard. I dropped him right where he stood at. Right. It was like a we're doing a red zone type thing, hitting session, dude. And he was like, everybody looking at me like this. Hold up, that dude.
You got to take on the toughest guy, man. That's how it is.
I know. And here it is. I was always one of them hard body guys. I couldn't lift weights. I probably bench pressed the 225 like 2.5 times when we had to do it. I said, I can't lift weights, but I'm a wrestler. I know leverage and power, and I know how to hit you.
Well, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back and talk about the Atlanta Falcons time and also Carolina Panthers. But we got Eugene Robinson on Chopping It Up with Buck. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, we're here at Greenwise Publix, downtown Tampa, Florida. We're going to go in here and check on the team. We're giving away samples today. Come on in. Let's go. Let's go. Go ahead and load it up. So we give from this side, right? It's actually good for you energy with elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, vitamin C. So we're a local company. We started locally. Publix is one of our retail partners. Prickly pear watermelon. I think it's going to be our leading seller. So Baker Mayfield in the house. Thin Energy Complete. Eat healthy, drink healthy. Big Peach guy in the house. I like it, man. Hey, the Berry Blast is flying off the shelf. Why don't we go ahead and restock this? Everybody's loving it. We're being featured as a wellness beverage of the year. The Berry Blast, Peach Mango, and the Tropical.
I like the berry one.
We want to keep the coolers full, but we've ran out of stores where we've blown through all their inventory. Oh, I didn't say that too loud. Yeah, because there's no caffeine.
That was good.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thanks for your support. I tell you what, today was amazing here at Publix Greenwise, Tampa, Florida. Product was flying out of here. We gave away hundreds of bottles of samples, so we appreciate all the support. Thank you for being part of Thin Energy, the Vibe Tribe.
All right, we're back with Eugene Robinson on Chopping It Up with Buck. So, Eugene, as we were finishing, great time in Green Bay, getting that Super Bowl win. Get to Atlanta, you got a young team, you're a veteran guy, run into some adversity during the Super Bowl. Tell us about that.
Everybody's excited. Probably my biggest regret, I should be thinking about football, and winning another Super Bowl. That's what I should, and I didn't. I let my lifestyle, I let my fact that that I was not focused on what I needed to be focused on, that that I would end up getting arrested in that Super Bowl for solicitation. And I would put my wife, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, my wife, my mom and dad, my team in a position that they should never even be in, or I should never even be in.
Yeah.
And then I got to work myself out of that. The greatest thing, if it's anything that happened, that my coach, Dan Reeves, rest his soul, came down to talk to me, and he didn't approach me as a player. He approached me as a guy who was a believer, who was wounded, who was hurt, and who was going to need to go ahead from that situation on to atone and amend a lot. And he prayed for me. I remember Coach praying for me. And before he prayed for me, he got on his knees and he said, "Heavenly Father, I ask that you forgive me of my sins first." He started confessing his own sins before he even got to me.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was one of the most powerful things ever in my life.
Well, I saw Dan Reeves speak here in Charlotte, before he passed, the touchdown club. And he was a great player and a great coach, but he talked about his walk and his faith. And even then, just understanding. So to hear you say that story, because my mom and I, she was in town and we ended up going. And I thought he was one of the, it was just so authentic what he was saying.
Yes.
What you're saying. I've heard that about him as not only a player, but as a coach with guys. He could get after you.
Oh, he could get after you, too.
Yeah,
he could get after you. Yeah, no doubt. Coach could
being
get after you. But the love that he showed me, the love he showed me was totally different, because at my lowest point, when I feel the most rotten is in my entire life, the most adversity in my entire life, I had somebody who came alongside of me and put his arm around me and pray for me. Oftentimes, Reggie White used to say that. He said, too many times we leave our Christian wounded on the battlefield as if they're not going to get hurt or wounded. And then we sometimes talk about them because we want to distance ourselves. Well, Reggie White didn't do that, but Dan Reeves surely didn't do that. He put his arm around me. I will never, ever, ever, ever forget, as long as I live, I will never forget the kindness and the love he showed me. And because of that, I got to go ahead. First of all, I faced the cameras. I didn't run from it. I didn't go ahead and say, this wasn't me. This is I didn't do any of that stuff. I said, look no further. I am the offender. It's me. I got to do a lot of stuff to come out and come back from this. I said, and the first thing I need to do, I need to, first of all, is apologize to my wife, this and that, my kids, my family, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And then from there, I got to go ahead and do some work. And no matter what it looks like, it sounds like, it tastes like, I'm gonna have to work behind the scenes, because I'm not going to get the benefit of the doubt. None of that. I'm not going to get any of that stuff. No, and I don't want any of that, because I need to own my stuff. I need to own it. So let me own it. Let me deal with it, and let me move on. And then God has miraculously, I've been a coach for 21, 22 years. I coach football, wrestling, and track. And God, will you give me an office?
Have you had conversations with guys that were going to make a wrong mistake or do something, and they come to you and say, Coach, I need your help?
Here, God used wounded people to go ahead and to minister to other people.
Say it again. Say that
God used wounded people to go ahead and minister to other people. It's in the Bible where the Bible talks in 2 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 1. It talks about the comfort that you receive from God, that you're now able to comfort others with that same comfort that God has comforted you with. And I've been able to go ahead and do that. Now, do I want this office of it? No. Have I learned from it? Yes. My goodness, has it been painful? Absolutely, yes. Have I had to walk every time the Super Bowl comes up, do I get sad and stuff? Yeah, of course. Do it affect my wife? Absolutely. Do I sometimes have to go back and apologize and say, Gia, please forgive me? Absolutely. Yes, because it becomes painful and it comes up. However, I can go ahead and walk from there where I'm at and still be functionable, still be a coach, still work in television and stuff that God has allowed me to go ahead and do, because God has not taken his hand away from me to do that. And then I responded to it. So yes, I'm like, okay, God, thank you. Thank you for all the stuff I've gone through. Would I change it? Yes. But has it helped me? Has it made me a better person? I would say indeed. Absolutely.
And you come to a team like the Carolina Panthers that have a lot of guys that are Christians and a lot of guys on the team that, and it's funny how you and I kind of started. I knew you from the league, but Mike Bunkley, who was chaplain at with the Panthers, was my chaplain at UCLA, and I ran from Mike when I first met him.
Man, I met Mike back in 1986 when he was, 85, 86, when he was in UCLA. He came to do a chapel service. The Seahawks were playing the San Diego Chargers. I heard him speak and fell in love with that. I was like, dude, this dude, and Mike and I are about the same age. I said, this dude is kind of like me right here. And ever since then, he and I, our families have become friends, lifelong friends. And I've known him since 1986 to this present time, and still is involved in his life, and he's involved in my life.
And it's crazy how.
And love him. Love him.
Well, tell us a little bit about your experience on the football field with the Panthers. What was that like, coming here to a new organization? Fairly new. They had been around for a while, but, a young NFL franchise, so to speak.
Yeah, but I was coming here. When I got here, Reggie White was here, so I had, and John Casey, some guys who I played with, they were here. So I've known some of the members on the team. But the other thing is that this team was in a different phase, and I was also in a different phase of life, because I got here one kid broke his hip, Deion Grant, and they needed a safety. So I ended up coming on board to be that safety, that stopgap, as they would go ahead and rebuilding. And God was really doing with me, allowing me to get back in football. Don't forget, I came from that year was a Super Bowl year. After that season, I played one more year with the Falcons, and now I'm kind of like out of football. And so the Panthers picked me up because the kid gets hurt, and I happen to be moving to Charlotte. So I come to Charlotte, and this becomes a home. And this is a great thing what God did. He allowed me to be reestablished here in the community, and in school, and my kids, and all that stuff. And then do television, to be a coach, all that stuff, because God did not take his hand away from me. Yeah. And that's why I've been. And so I've been doing television, doing radio, been doing Panthers, been doing all this other stuff. Why? Because of my faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. Now I know that everybody doesn't believe in Jesus Christ, but for Eugene Robinson, I believe firmly in the Lord Jesus Christ. Indeed.
Well, Charlotte today is told you you did a long time Panthers as a radio. So tell us a bit about that. Some of those experiences.
I love doing broadcasting. I became the broadcaster back in 2002 to 2019. I've been doing that for 16, 17 years. Jim Zoki, myself, and Mick Mixon, and Bill Rosinski. And now it's I do a radio program for the Carolina Panthers. I do. As a matter of fact, we're about to go on the air here in a few moments. But I do a Monday show, and I do a post-game show. I love it because I get to stay around football and still be a football player. Every football player wants to hear the applause, wants to go ahead and hear that. I get a chance to do that once again by being involved with the Carolina Panthers.
Well, I know you have to do your show. What we always do here is we call it the 2-minute drill. For DBs, I got to make it advantageous for you so you can make some plays. So, offensive guy, I'm always looking to go forward. But I'm gonna give you the deep, and then just quick hitting questions. Nothing fancy. You answer them
good
down the field. So, tell us what's the music that you're listening to? What's in the car or on the iPod?
R&B. Look, I listen to the Delphonics. I listen to the Dramatics, man. I listen to Bloodstorm. I'm listening to all my old school stuff, dude. I listen to my Temptations, dude. Then I get my little gospel thing on, my Fred Hammond and my Commission and my Donnie McClurkin. I don't mess around with my Fred Hammond and my Commission. That's always down right there.
Hey, but you got to hear la 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 la.
I love you. You know what that is, dude. Many guys have come to you with a line that wasn't true, and you passed them by. Yeah, go ahead, dog. That's my dog.
So that horrible rendition about me. I'll move the ball down the field. That was a great. You're holding up. The defense has held them up. First down, they're not getting any yardage because of that answer. That was great. So on Sundays, what's your routine? Because I know you had one when you played. What's your routine now? Because I still get nervous, even if I'm calling games or just doing that. So what do you do to kind of keep yourself focused?
So if I can, I'll go out and play 9 holes if I can. If I play 9 holes of golf. But if I don't play 9 holes of golf, typically I'm just home chilling, not doing anything, and then just waiting for the game. And then what I'll do is here, the Panthers, I'll turn on the radio so I can listen to the broadcast.
So now
I love the broadcast is really, really good now. That's what I do now. Listen to the broadcast, and Anish and those guys do a wonderful job.
Yeah. Well, 9 holes, you got to get me in on that. So talking about golf, is your chipping game on or is your long game on? Which one are you doing the best right now?
So right now, my chipping has really been saving me because, that being around the green, I'm able to score now. Before that wasn't the case. You can hit the ball long and stuff, but you got to be able to score. And in golf, primarily, if you can score, that's the fun part of golf. And so now, because I chip better, I'm able to score better.
Well, you just scored. That was a pick. That was your 58. You had 57. We'll get 58. You take it back to the house. You guys win. All right, Gino. Man, thanks for coming on again. That was so good, man. I'm glad we could fit it in. We're going to do it live next time. You know what? We'll do it on the golf course.
Sounds good.
Kevin told me my producer loves golf. We'll get out on the course, and I'll show you how bad of a golfer, just like I am a singer, but we'll have fun with it.
Hey, dude, many guys have come to me with a line that wasn't true, and you passed them by.
Game and Stillwater. I want to go outside.
In the rain, I'm telling you, Dramatics, man, that's my group, dog.
I know.
No doubt. Hey, Buck, man, good talking to you, dog.
Man, take care.